2 years ago, we reviewed the Hyperkin SupaBoy, a portable handheld that allows you to play your favorite Super Nintendo games on the go. Yes, that is awesome. However, we're not gonna talk about this one today though, because those 2 years are gone. Gone. We don't need this anymore. Why? Because now we got this. Yes, it's 2017 now, and Hyperkin has updated the SupaBoy with the SupaBoy S. Look at that S. Isn't it cool? Stands for special. It wants to be super special. It has to make that nice S like that. Yeah, it's made by Hyperkins. We got some brand new features here. Some of them new, some of them old, but as you can tell, the #1 new thing they put in there, a brightness button now. You can adjust the brightness to high or low you want. It's compatible with Super Nintendo and Super Famicom games, and when they meant Super Nintendo, they meant all of Super Nintendo, meaning both NTSC and PAL. Here we got a TV output like before, and a rechargeable lithium batteries, which is cool. The other one has one too, but a much crappier one because this one is actually longer. You have a 4.3-inch LED screen, which is nice. NTSC and PAL switch, which is cool. Now you can play every other region's game. So if you really want to play that English version of Terragnum that only got released in Europe, now you can. All you gotta do is buy that game, play it on your SupaBoy S here, and just turn it to their regions and play it from their side of the pond. It's much more better that way. Anyways, here's the packaging. You can see how here's a render 3D image of how the portable will look like. On the side here, you got all the same feature they kind of brag about here too. On the bag, you can see all the nice information about what's this SupaBoy S is all about. Mostly I'm going to show you the English part, because every other language down here, I don't know. Basically they're the same thing, but I don't know, maybe some of them might hit a secret or not. Well, as you can tell, there's the same thing that it's already in here, so I don't really want to repeat them again. But yeah, they do sound kind of helpful though. And here is all the stuff that they tell you about on this system. We'll look over them once we unbox it. But yeah, it does have some new stuff about it. And here are all the stuff that it will come with. You got your system, you got the pouch, you got a wrist strap, you got a micro USB cable, and you got an AV cable. No HDMI, which is okay on a portable. I don't really mind if it puts AV or HDMI, because at the end of the day, I care more about the system than about what's on the TV, because I bought this for this system and not for the TV. Anyways, let's unbox this thing and see how it looks. So let's take this thing out and let's unbox it. Alright, so we take that rubber band out now. Let's open it up. So you can tell it has these edges that Hyperkin loves to do. It's kind of like their trademark and stuff. So, and there it is, the Hyperkin SupaBoy S. It seems kind of bigger than the original, I guess. Yeah, D-pad feels very nice. They fixed the select and start button this time, so that's good. The diamond layout is still pretty much the same though. The buttons are much smoother rather than yeah, kind of it's not that squishy like the original. Still got those 2 controller ports on the front, which is nice. And we got stereo now. Look at that. Those stereo speakers are like tenfold compared to like the old ones where we only have like two titty size stereo outputs. Now we have like a whole Titantron style of them now, which is nice. This is gonna be really loud. I mean, the original is already loud. This is gonna be like loud times 3. Hopefully it doesn't it doesn't distort all the music and stuff. But yeah, nice D-pad. Diamond layouts are good. Start and select is correct now. They still put them up here though, which I don't like. I will wish one is right here and the other is right here. I mean, there's no reason not to put them down here. Much easier to tap with your thumb. Whereas up here, you always had to use this one. But the L and R buttons are actually shoulder buttons this time. They're a little bit more laid than they are in the original, where it's like a bumper. Kind of crappy. Whereas on these, they're more flush. You can easily just tap it on the side, and they're really good. On the top here, you got your micro USB thing you can use to power this on. Yeah, it ditches the mini USB that it came with on the other one. It has a PAL and NTSC switch now, so yeah, like I said, if you want to play any region's game, you can just use this. Yeah, if you ever play any game in here and you wonder why it gives you all those lousy message about, hey, wait, this game only works on this region. If you don't live here, sorry, you can't play. Well, fuck that. You can just switch it on, and now you can play it. Doesn't matter which part of the pond you're at now. This thing will play any games. If you're in Australia, you're pretty much gonna stick with PAL. If you're over here, you switch it to NTSC. If you're somewhere in Tokyo, it's still NTSC. Here's the reset button now, and this is a good thing I like about Hyperkin. Now they actually fixed the problem with the reset buttons on the original. If you remember, the reset button used to be right here, and like us idiots, sometimes we press it thinking that it's the start buttons or select buttons and all that stuff, and by the time we know it, we already reset our game, so boo-hoo for us. But now it's up here now, so we have no excuse to accidentally do something like that anymore. We still get the on and off switch, which is nice. AV out is still here too. No HDMI, so yeah. They kind of ditched the thing that holds your cartridge on the original. So right here, this is the thing that holds your cartridge tight once you plug it in. The new one ditches that, so I'm pretty sure that maybe once your cartridge goes in, it goes in tightly. So let's kind of test that a little bit just in case. Yeah, so this time when it goes in, yeah, it goes in very nice. It also comes out very nice too. You don't have to put too many force in it. The only thing I don't like is that when you plug it in, the other bottom half of the cartridge still shows its face. So I mean, on the original, you didn't get to see this lower part of the cartridge, whereas on this one you still see that, and that I just don't like the look of that. I mean, just look at how nice the old one is. I mean, just look at how it's plugged in. Look at that. You don't see anything underneath there. This is perfect right here. But on the newer one, you do get to see that portion of the cartridge. But it's no big deal. You get used to it over time. But as for me, that kind of look iffy to me. Anyways, I do like how it's easy to pull off now. And on the bottom, you got your headphone jack. If you don't want people to hear all your lousy music up here, you can just plug in a headphone and listen to all of them in your ears instead. Let them explode inside. And here's the volume slider, and this thing right here is the brightness setting. You can press it and change the level of the brightness of the screen here. Also, like I said, the screen here is much bigger, I think, and much more rectangular than it was on the original. As you can tell, the original has a much square screen. It's pretty much a 4:3, whereas this one is pretty much closer to a 16:9. So your game will look stretched on this thing, and we'll take a look at that later. But on the back here, you got your compartment for the battery. You don't have to plug in your batteries for this system anymore, because once you bought it, the battery is already inside, so you don't even have to like take this thing off and put it to install it or anything. I mean, you can still take it out though, but with this thing right here, it's kind of like a chore to take it out, so I just leave it in there. If you realize that the battery is bad, you can just always take it out and then order a new one for Hyperkin, I think. Also, the back side of the SupaBoy S looks kind of different too. I mean, you kind of hold it like this from the side. You can still hold it like that too, but yeah, it doesn't have those curved bottom like the old ones. I mean, just look at the old ones. It's kind of like the same thing, but it has these curves to the bottom here. It's much more comfortable to hold, whereas on this one, it's also more comfortable, but it's kind of like at the side more. It doesn't go down to the center, and I kind of got used to that design of going down to the center there. So yeah, that's pretty much what I think of the out-of-the-box system here. Also, the other things you get inside this package, you get these two holders. I mean, the package looks really nice, much nicer than the old package of the old SupaBoy. And these will hold your SupaBoy, but inside this box down here is where all your wires and stuff comes from. So you pretty much have almost everything you need in here. You got a pouch, which is pretty much bigger than the pouch you used to have with the old ones. It's pretty much the same thing, but much bigger, so that you can put this big thing inside it. You also get all these wires and stuff. So this is the micro USB cable to charge your systems or power it on. And this is the usual AV cable, pretty much the same AV cable you got from the old model. They don't have S video, so you pretty much have to get used to composite at this point. And your wrist strap. So yeah, those are pretty much everything you got in the box here. You don't get any stickers or anything though, but these are pretty much all you need for this new system. So yeah, we're gonna test some games and see how the performance of this SupaBoy S is. So let's get to it. So as you may know, the original SupaBoy has many compatibility issues with some games, and the two most well-known games that I have that has issue with was Super Mario RPGs and Kirby Superstar. So these two will have a hard time working on the original. However, on the SupaBoy S, they work just fine, and we'll test that right now. Plug it in, make sure you put it on the region that you live in, and turn it on. And just like that, the game loads perfectly. And just listen to that nice little audio there. Okay, let's start playing the game. All my saves still in there, right? Yep. I do love the screen. I just kinda don't like the aspect ratio. So yeah, that's Super Mario RPG. It works just fine. If you plug in Kirby Superstar, it too also works just fine. There he goes. And there it is. Fighter Kirby. Anyways, yeah, that's Kirby Superstar right there. Works just fine as well. And like before, Super Famicom game also works just fine on it. So you just plug it like that, turn it on, and yeah, there is the Super Famicom game. Now I don't have any PAL games, so I can't test PAL right here, but there are other videos to prove that PAL game does work. So yeah, you don't have anything to worry about those. And this is one of my favorite games on the Super Famicom. Pretty sure that the storyline of this game is pretty hilarious if you know Japanese. There's some repro cards that you can buy that has the English translations, or you can play it on the Retron 5 and get translation from there. But me, I just want to play the game and the text doesn't bother me as much, and I think that action speaks more than words, so I pretty much play this game for all the hilarious action they do. Yeah, that's pretty much just me testing the game, so yeah, Go Act Man works just fine on it. Also, we're gonna test some Super Game Boy on this thing too. So here's the Super Game Boy. As you can tell, Super Game Boy also works on the original SupaBoy. It works with these 3 different kind of cartridges. So it works with a normal Game Boy cartridge, also with a Super Game Boy cartridge, and a black Game Boy Color cartridge. It doesn't work with the clear one though, so yeah, if you play it with a black one, it will actually work. Of course, it will stretch the game though, as well as that border around it. So here it is. Fortunately, it doesn't recognize it the first time. That's because of this cartridge is dirty. It could be that, or it could be that the Super Game Boy is dirty too. It'll take a few tries. You gotta blow on both of them. There it goes. Eventually it'll work. So yeah, this is Power Quest on the original Game Boy. Or Game Boy Color, that is. Yeah, I just take a few times for it to just change to that Super Game Boy layout there. So yeah, you can choose different languages, and I think this is one of the few games that you can play on any regions perhaps, because it has those multi-region languages. Japanese might have their own, I guess. So yeah, this is how the map screen looks like. You just need to go and find someone to beat. So now it looks like a fighting game. So I choose the one that can shoot that down projectile down there. So basically it's a fighting game where you play as your favorite robot. Yeah, it's a pretty nice game, but at the same time, yeah, since the screen is a little bit on the 16:9 side, it looks kind of iffy to me. If you want to experience Super Game Boy the way it was meant to be, I say I prefer playing on the original. Donkey Kong and the other two still plays okay though. SupaBoy S also works with repros. So this is my repro copies of Final Fantasy V here. So as you can tell, it works just fine. It boots up immediately. So let's see where I'm at. Here's all my party. I'll play like 2 battles. Yeah, look at that. Ooh, that's a very strong fist. Yep, that's Final Fantasy V. So most people were wondering if Doom with the Super FX2 chip will work on the SupaBoy S. Now I have to tell you, it does work on the original SupaBoy. So if you test it right now, you can guarantee that it works on the original SupaBoy. So as you can tell, it loads just fine. I mean, crystal clear sounds, all that stuff. Yep. So yeah, the haunting music, the squishy controls, and all those kind of environmental graphics and all the stuff are still there. Now let's see if it works on the S. And I had to say, it does work on the S. Of course, it will have all those things stretch. It'll take a few tries to make it work though. So just like that, it finally turns on. Here's William logos. Yeah, the chilling soundtrack. Look at that, nice title screen. Okay, this is called Stretch Doom. We're stretching to the limit here. Okay. And I basically just kill him for no obvious reasons. Yeah, I kind of turned the brightness down a little bit there. So if I turn the brightness on, you can see more of the game. There he goes. This is a very dark game. I think Doom is one of those games where it doesn't matter if it was stretched. You can shoot, you can go kill zombies and demons and all that stuff in here. Oh, where's this? There you go. Only thing is that this game does not have any save feature, so no matter how far you get in this game, as long as you don't reset it, you do fine. But if you do get defeated or reset it, then you have to start everything all over again. So yeah, everything I try on this thing works just fine. The two games that has problem with the original now works on this. Hyperkin kind of fixed everything that was wrong with the original. However, that's kind of a little bit where the problem also comes in too. I mean, they fix everything and also anything that was in the original. So the battery was short, they gave it a longer batteries. The cartridge slot was not all that. I mean, it's not all that steady. This time they steady it. They don't need the one on the back anymore, so that's cool. They give you a region switch here, so now you can play any games from any regions, something that the original can't do. I mean, it can still play North American and Japanese games, but you can't play a lot of the PAL games. The reset button, which was annoyingly on the front here on the original, has been moved, so that solves that problem. The screen, which was not that bright in the original, is much brighter. You can actually save batteries with it by turning the brightness down or actually turning it off. I don't know why you want to turn it off, but if you turn it down, you can actually save battery life. The volume slider is pretty much the only thing that's still the same. Headphones still good. You get your stereo audio speaker here now, so you can enjoy all your nice stereo much louder than it was on the original. You got better control and better shoulder buttons than the original now. But the thing that Hyperkin did wrong is that they fixed something that should never be fixed, and that's this screen size here. I know that they want to make it bigger, but they overstretch it too much now, to the point where it's 16 by 9, and all of the games, every games that you play on this, I mean, even though they look fine and they look nicer on this brighter screen, also makes the sprite a little bit more puffy or a little bit more fat, if I can say that. And kind of similar way to that of the Super FC Mobile. Yeah, here's a comparison of what the SupaBoy S, a game on the SupaBoy S, will look like compared to the original. So here you can see Fatal Fury Special on the SupaBoy S and the original SupaBoy. If you look at it, this is on the highest brightness and this is no brightness. Basically, they're pretty much almost the same. But if we zoom in on the new one, it looks like this. If you look at the old one, it looks like this. If you kind of take them out a little bit, they look like that. Even if I put it on the lowest brightness, it'll still look like that. So if I turn the lights on a little bit, I think it'll help. Yeah, I think it'll help a little bit if we turn the lights off. So yeah, this is pretty much what it looks like with the lights off. And I still say I prefer the old ones over the new ones, even though it has a brighter backlight right there. I mean, it's just in the camera that it looks kind of different, but yeah. But if you look at the older ones, you can see that nice little 4x3 sprites, character with their proper animations and those vibrant colors and all the correct sizes and everything. Whereas if you compare it to the newer ones, I mean, the body size are much more stretched, and the character select screen looks kind of a little bit stretched to the center there. The letters is much longer too. Terry looks much fatter here than he was on this screen. So yeah, side by side, I had to say the original is still kind of better than the newer ones. So yeah, that's pretty much the comparison. So in conclusion, what do I think of the SupaBoy S? I think it's a nice little upgrade to the original SupaBoy. It got better controls, start and select buttons, much nicer now. I still wish for them to be down here than up here. Nice little cartridge slot here, much more improved now. You get region switch. You get your reset buttons in the right place, on and off, still there. And you got the brightness button here to help you save on battery life. You also got a longer battery life now too. The only few things that, like I said, kind of bothers me is these two needs to be down here. This screen needs to shift back to the 4x3, or at least have some borders to make it look like 4x3. If that option is there, that would be perfect. Also, these stereo speakers, I don't mind them, they're good. The two controller slots right here are the way they function the way they were supposed to, so that's no problem. The grip on the cartridge is not that bad, and I just love this long ass battery life now. I mean, you can actually play up to like 9 hours non-stop with this thing in the lowest brightness of the system. You play on the highest one, the longest you can play is probably 6 hours, I guess. So I have to say it's a nice little portable. Not that perfect compared to the original. It's better than the original in almost every way except the screens and these two. So it kind of lost points on that aspect, but honestly, it does have a lot of things right, and the control is the most important thing they got right, because this D-pad feels a lot better than the D-pad that was in the original. The original D-pad was kind of stiff. So if I had to give this a grade, definitely an A+. Not an S like the SupaBoy S. If it can fix the screen and return it back to its original 4x3, or has the option to revert it to 4x3, and put these two start and select buttons somewhere down here, then yeah, it will get an S. The compatibility has been fixed now. Almost every game that I have on my collection now will work with the system. So there's no games that I have right now that has issue with this system. So I say, if you don't mind the 16:9 screen, then go for it. If it does bother you, you do have the option to go to the original. So yeah, that's pretty much up to you. So I'm Voan, and thank you for joining me on this new video that I have now. So I'll see you next time on my next videos, and you guys have a great day.